episode 34 of Patch Notes, the Homegames podcast. I'm Yazeed, and this is Joseph.
I am Joseph, and today is June 14th. Zenovia's laughing at us. This is episode 34 of Patch Notes. Zenovia's here.
34. And Senovia is here. You already started going off the train tracks.
Yeah, we're off the tracks, going hog wild.
Yeah. Senovia is joining us. Just like Joseph said, I think 2 episodes ago, Senovia is still here. We haven't banished her from the island yet.
Yet?
Yes.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, but Senovia is back in video form for the first time in 20-something episodes. Very exciting.
This is your 20th video episode?
No, I mean, in terms of all episodes, I think the last one you were on was like 13.
Oh, okay.
This is our 14th video?
No way.
Didn't we do, wasn't it 20 that we started with? Because we did video in March.
Then yeah.
It is June.
Yeah, then yeah.
Anyway, today is June 14th, 2020. And this is episode 34 of
Yeah.
Patch Notes, the Homegames podcast.
Every week feels the same, but they're all very slightly different.
Speaking of being slightly different, this week we're switching it up yet again. Our original format was we started with What's Up, and then we did Homegames, and then we did kind of the rest. And then we switched to Homegames and then What's Up to kind of... The assumption was that people would care about our content more up front, like what's the home game stuff about, but our conversations didn't flow super well, in my opinion. So we're starting with What's Up again.
We are starting with What's Up again. Let's start with Senovia, since we haven't had you on like, I don't know, 400 months or whatever. What's going on? What's new? What's happening?
It's been good. I've just been living at my parents' house since we moved back. Quarantining it up.
Have you, though?
Yes, I have not left my house really. I go to like get groceries, but no, I've been like Uber Eatsing it, and that's it really.
Yeah.
So every day feels the same, but other than that, it's been fine. So
How's Tucson life been for the past 3 months or longer?
it's been good. It's been really hot, which I'm getting used to again, but I'm very much used to it now. So
I don't know what it is for me. I'm like more, or in my head it was worse than it really is. Because it's been like 105 every day for the past 3 days, 4 days.
I think maybe because you always pictured something better, like the grass is green on the other side, and then you went to the other side, and it was Seattle and terrible, and so then now you're...
Seattle's not terrible. I mean, I like the weather there was much nicer, but I don't miss the darkness. But the thing is, in my head, when I remember like real bad heat, I remember like 120 getting in the car, seatbelt burning your skin.
Yeah, that still happens.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been that bad. Like I've been going outside in the evenings, just like chilling, and it's
Alright,
surprisingly.
hold on a second. What time in the evenings approximately?
7:30.
Okay, yeah, like so sunset. That's actually a nice time. So like for example, I usually take my dog on a walk at like 7 a.m. and like 6:30. So like those are like the big walks for us. And that's because like it's cooler then. But like she's had to make a bathroom run at like 11 before, and it's so hot that sometimes I think I want to die. And then that's not even like the peak temperature. So like out here peak will be like 12:31. I don't know. I guess for people who don't live in Arizona, what they don't understand is that like, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the evening, it's still like 96 degrees outside. It's just more shady. And that's like...
Not even 6. It's like bright, still sunny daytime outside at 6.
You're right. It's
Sunset
7
is
o'clock and the sun hasn't even come close to setting yet.
Yeah, I think sunset is like 7:30, 7:40 every night.
Yeah.
But also, we didn't announce What's Up. It's What's Up section. So this is where I put the music.
We did.
Did I?
You did.
Did I say What's Up? Like,
Yeah.
I did.
what a horrible introduction. No, yeah, What's Up? I'll put the music in there somewhere. I didn't. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let me ask you a question then, because I can do that. If you had to pick your top 3 shows that you've watched since quarantine started,
Ooh.
what are your top 3 shows?
So definitely The Office, because it's on every day, all day.
Which makes it good.
Which makes it great.
Yeah.
It's between The Real Housewives of Atlanta or The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and then Jersey Shore.
Is that New Jersey Shore or original Jersey Shore?
Oh.
'Cause I haven't seen
I was like,
previews.
It's all New Jersey Shore.
No, but
Like New Jersey.
no, like new
No,
Jersey
no, no.
Shore.
I don't watch when they're like old and like
The
have
reunion
kids and
episodes,
stuff.
yeah.
No, I watched like the first like 4 seasons.
Okay.
Those are prime
Yeah.
Jersey Shore.
So Jersey Shore,
The Office,
Office.
or Real Housewives, and then
Oh, okay.
Jersey Shore.
So just the Real Housewives in general.
Wait, just kidding. No Jersey Shore. Yes, 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun one. Have you seen that?
I've never watched 90 Day Fiance, but I've heard
It's
about it.
It's so good.
It's better than I wanted it to be when I started watching it.
Okay.
There's a dog.
Yeah, I think she'll look excited.
She's scared.
She'll look excited. There's a lot of stuff going on that she's not used to yet. Nice. Have you watched the Floribama Shore?
Yes, I watched like 2 episodes of it, and I was like, this is not good for me.
What if I told you my brother has watched that whole show probably like twice?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say he was on it. And I
No.
was like, yeah, I believe that.
What's the show?
It's like Jersey Shore, but it's like Florida and Alabama.
Yeah.
Like there's a shore between those
Okay.
2 states, and so people go there
Is it just
and
like
mess up stuff.
bad people being loud like Jersey
Yeah.
Shore
Oh
is?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like most of what MTV is.
But
It's
they don't
true.
have like really good accents. Like the Jersey accent and like all of their like lingo is way more like funny to me than
Hmm.
just Florida.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is that just like a southern accent and gators? Or like what's the kind of appeal of Florida?
There's no appeal to Florida.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
That makes sense. I just saw that there was the reunion or whatever of Jersey Shore, and everybody looks kind of the same, but just older. And
Yeah.
like, it's just crazy that MTV continues to make that stuff, but they still don't actually make anything. Like music videos have made a huge resurgence in the past 5 years, and MTV doesn't do that. They still just do their reality stuff, which is crazy to me.
You'd really think that they would, because it feels like music for a while was like broken down into like 2 camps of like people who are into hip hop and people who are into rock, and now it feels like almost everyone is into hip hop.
Yeah, it's
or
like a genre.
like even like I'm not that into hip hop, like I'll listen to hip hop, so I don't understand.
I've seen you listen to hip hop. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like that thing when you watch something happening, you can't believe it because you and your like aura in a hip hop environment just don't mix. That's why it's hilarious every time. But I have seen it.
Nice. Okay, cool. I don't know. I recently started watching the show Community, which is
Oh,
actually pretty
wow.
fun. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I know it's good. Apparently.
It in some ways reminds me of when we were in college.
Really?
Like, yeah. Yeah,
Aw.
a little bit. Like especially like when we would all hang out like down in the basement of the university of the like student union. For people who don't know, that sounds way sketchier than it is. The student union's basement was like an actual place to hang out. It's not like we broke into a building and like we're just chilling in the basement like savages. It reminds me of that a little bit because like the whole premise is like around a study group and like we never
Oh.
studied together, but we did do dumb stuff and they did dumb stuff, and it kind of reminds me of that. None of the characters I think fit. 2 of the characters I think are you and me. There's 2 characters. One's named Troy. One's named Abed, and we are pretty similar.
Is Troy Joel McHale, or is he?
No.
Not? Oh, is that Childish Gambino?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as that's fine. I'm fine with that. And then Abed has that like movie project because his dad never loved him or whatever, right?
Yeah, have you watched the show?
I've seen the first season and I
Oh,
couldn't really
okay.
get into it. Not that that's you. That's the only thing I remember from that person.
For people who don't know, I'm not very much into making movies. I didn't mean like our personalities. I just think some of their interactions remind me of us. Like just the way that they are like on the same wavelength dangerously sometimes. Like, it reminds me of you and me.
Very dangerously. I could never get into that show. I don't know what it was. It was just like you could tell it was like funny, but it did make me laugh. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't really laugh out loud when I watch that show. It's just something I watch to like as an enjoyment thing.
Mhm.
But I'm not super big on watching TV anyway. So like it's really slow process. Like I'm barely into season 2, and I'm watching it now for like 2 months.
Did you finish Naruto or whatever you were watching? Not Naruto, Avatar.
The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were you still satisfied with the way that show ends because you've seen it before?
Yeah, I mean, people didn't watch that episode. Basically, like what I was saying was that I watched it when it was premiering still, so I definitely missed some episodes. So watching it like all in one go, that show makes way more continuity sense. But I still enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed it when I was younger, and I enjoyed it now too. I still think Aang is kind of a baby boy for not just straight murking everybody he came across, but you know that's he's a smarter person than me.
Sure. I don't know. I've never seen an episode of that show, so I don't really.
I mean, he's basically like a god among mortals, and like he can do pretty much anything he wants at any time. The only thing holding him back is that he's kind of a goofball, and he is more responsible with his powers. He's the kind of person who, when he gets godly powers, isn't like, and then I will rule them with an iron fist. It's like, I'll make sure the world is a good place.
Got it. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't watch anime.
That's not an anime.
It's not
How
anime.
dare you?
It's a kids show.
It's a cartoon. Actually, anime is a kid's show too.
It's kind of anime.
No, it's not.
Avatar is kind of anime.
I think that the people who are really into anime would be offended by that because for some reason they just forget the fact that animation is what anime is for.
It's Japanese animation.
It is Japanese animation.
Is Avatar Japanese?
No.
Okay, well, it's not anime. It's animation.
Yeah, it's made by two Americans.
But it's kind of anime.
It kind of is. It's super heavily
It's all
like
about,
based
elements.
on it's based on like Eastern philosophies in some regards, and also like Eastern cultures too.
It's about elements and feelings and fighting and learning inner strength. That's an anime. I don't care.
I mean, it's also external strength, not just inner strength.
Okay, we'll still whatever. Anyway, that show. I'll watch it someday, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I would recommend Community because it's more for adults, and I don't know.
But I don't like it. I've tried it twice, and I cannot get into Community.
Oh, I mean, maybe you just don't have a high enough IQ.
That's true. Oh, we watched Solar Opposites. You want to talk about that? The Rick and Morty.
Oh. We don't
Maybe
need
not.
to talk.
Man,
Maybe not. Damn.
whoa, that reaction. What did you get you to watch?
You know Justin Roiland, the creator of Rick and Morty, he has like another show on Hulu.
Oh no, I did not know that.
Yeah. It's basically like a rip-off of Rick and Morty. Like he just ripped off himself.
Like the main
Oh,
character, his
no.
name is Corbo or something like that, and he sounds like Rick. It's the same voice actor doing the same voice. It's the same animation style. They all have little like squiggly dot eyeballs. It's like the same thing, but it's just Justin Roiland and not Dan Harmon. And there's another co-creator for the show, but it's like Rick and Morty, but not. It's on Hulu.
That's kind of crazy.
It's not very good.
You know what's funny is that I have a Hulu account. I haven't logged in like 4 months.
Yeah, I don't think about Hulu when I'm looking at like.
Things to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an overabundance of everything. You have so many options. It's like I'll just go on YouTube and hit shuffle and whatever, just click anything on YouTube. Just want noise.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Nice. Joseph, what's up with you, man? What's happening?
Nothing really. It's just been kind of more of the same for me. Life is very much similar every day. But I've been playing some video games. I've been playing a BMX game called Descenders, which is actually very fun. It's not my kind of game at all normally, but it's procedurally generated BMX paths, and it's like a roguelike or whatever. It's like you have one life and you just kind of go, and the run is the run, and you either beat the thing or you don't. And it's just going downhill and like doing tricks and stuff.
Nice.
Pretty fun. I don't know. I've been playing it for like off and on the past couple weeks, and I enjoy it quite a bit, which is fun. And then another game called Cook Serve Delicious 2, which is like a cooking/restaurant sim game.
I think you talked about the first one, didn't you?
Did I?
I
I've told you about the first one.
Yeah,
but I don't know
maybe-
about it on the podcast.
Yeah, you definitely told. I feel like I know about this game.
I told you about Cook Serve Delicious because the original game I played quite a bit. Anyway, the whole thing is like you start up a restaurant, you build your menu, and there's like complexity with how you structure that menu. So it can either be like, well, I have a lot of high price, high like effort items like cheeseburgers, chicken sandwiches, all these other things that require like cooking and assembly. Or I can have a bunch of lower price things that are quick to just make, like French fries, but I can go and make this whole menu myself, and I run the restaurant, and I cook, and I clean, and I do all this stuff, and you just get money. you can then buy more things for your restaurant. You can decorate it and get more menu items and stuff like that. And it's all about really like perfecting the process. Like you can remember the button mappings for like how to put green chili sauce on a chimichanga, and it's like I remember the patterns. Like I hit X to lay down the chimney, and then I hit Y to put the sauce on. Then I hit the other trigger to do this stuff, and then I put sour cream and thing. And like you remember all the button combinations, and you just like perfectly execute the whole thing and get combos. That's like perfectly drilled into my kind of thing.
Why does this remind me of like Osu?
It is. It's like it is that. It's in a non-music way, like about being very like strict and rigid about your actions. Like every touch is intentional, and the timing is always like the timing isn't so much a thing, but it is like a race because you have to get your orders out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that game has been super fun. I've been playing that quite a bit. There's a third game coming out as well that's currently in early access, but it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same game. But that's all kind of whatever. The thing that I was like actually hyped on this week was, did I tell you about this yesterday, Senovia, when I made coffee and I like got it? Okay. I've been drinking coffee in some way for 15 years, right? And it's always been just like coffee's, or at the beginning it was like coffee's gross, coffee's bitter, coffee's whatever. I'll never drink black coffee. After years of drinking coffee with like cream and sugar and all this other stuff, started drinking black coffee just to try to see if I can like enjoy it. And I gained more of an appreciation for it. But when they would be like, oh, there's notes of like hazelnut and floral essence.
Oh my god, I think I know where this is going. Continue.
So I've always read that stuff and been like, okay, I'm sure that someone got that vibe, but this tastes like coffee. I never got that stuff. Anyway, yesterday, got new coffee from a subscription box I had, and I did like the measurements all right, and I did a pour over, and I like really went for it, and it came out, and it tasted exactly like the thing on the bag said. It was supposed to taste like, it said tart cherry, pomegranate, and red wine, right? And I know I like sound like an asshole, I know, right? But it totally tasted like red wine, pomegranate, tart cherry.
No, dude.
Like
no.
in a way that blew my mind. Because I like got it all right. The thing with making coffee is that there's very few variables, but you can tweak them infinitely.
Okay.
So like, you've made pour over before, Senovia. There's like, you put coffee in and you slowly put water on it. But it's about how much water you put and how fast and how much ratio and stuff. But like, that's really it. And then you let it bloom or whatever. Anyway, for the first time, I like got it. I hit the thing right and I got the process correctly up to the point where it tasted exactly like it did on the bag. And I was like so hyped on that. I finally hit my coffee thing 15 years in.
Nice, man. I mean, on one level, I'm happy for you because this is something we've made fun of together and I've experienced it. On the other hand, I have to make fun of you for it. And, like,
I get it.
You're telling me some cooked beans taste like wine and cherries and pomegranate? Hold on.
I don't know. And I tried it again today.
Okay.
So like same measurements, same water, same everything. And the only thing that was different is that I poured the water too fast. Slightly faster than I did yesterday. And today it just tasted like coffee. It's just bitter like coffee. But yesterday, like, I got it. Nice. Anyway, I was just excited and I wanted to tell you.
You should be. I mean, that's really cool. There's something about like completing something at a really finesse level where you can really experience it in its fullest.
Yes, I think the disappointing thing is that I can't replicate it.
No, I think that's the best part. Because now you will always chase that high, and now every time you make coffee, you're going to be like, how fast should I pour this? What temperature should this water be? Like, all that stuff is going to be like running through your head, and you're going to like keep like getting a little bit closer and closer and closer to like hitting that correctly. I think it's like back to your chef's game. Right? Where you gotta just like memorize the right combination.
Oh, just like all about the process and just nailing it down.
Yeah, it's like a weird gamification of drinking coffee for you now. I think it's good for you because I know how much you like that. How much this has ruined you as a person. It's also gonna make you a good person.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna like keep going more into trying to perfect it. I think I was just happy it turned out well once, But at the end of it, I'm just really gonna just coffee. Like I'll enjoy it for that first few sips.
Yeah.
And then when I'm like writing code and all this stuff, and the coffee is just a side thing, it's just coffee. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Not to be too formulaic. There's actually a Vine about this.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So the running joke, Yazeed will reference a Vine or a TikTok, probably like 1 and 2 episodes.
You watch TikTok?
I don't have a TikTok account because I don't want to find my own. I just watch YouTube compilations. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Because I ain't about to find my own funny. Or YouTube will find funny for me. There's a Vine where the guy goes, there's something about just hitting it just right, and then he does a little dance move. And he's like, it's just, it's so perfect. And then I don't know why, but that makes me think of that. I'll try to find it and send it to you. These are probably just like in one big compilation, all the TikToks I watch.
You should make a Yazeed's best of TikTok and just go and make your contribution to the world.
TikToks.
Yeah, with your impeccable TikTok taste.
I have very good TikTok taste.
TikTok taste.
Yeah.
Episode 34.
Sorry. For me, I guess today was the first day I took Sapphire for obedience school training, and that was pretty exciting. She's pretty well behaved normally, but we're just trying. Really, what I want to get her to do is that if she ever gets off her leash again, I don't have to run after her because she's getting faster and I'm not.
She's gotten lost in the desert how many times at this point?
2 times.
Okay.
2 times.
She just runs out there and
Chasing rabbits.
Oh,
Yeah, she'll slip her collar and just book it after a rabbit, and then I have to run after her. And the first time she did it, the only reason I caught her, and she's always been faster than me, but like she was still recovering from her space surgery, so she didn't quite have the endurance. So I was able to like run her down basically, but that required me to run down a dog, which that is demanding. And then also I'm just an idiot. When I took her to my office to grab some stuff from there, I was like, oh, this will be a quick in and out job, and I didn't bring her leash or collar. And when we left, because that was not a quick in and out job, she was like, icy desert, I'll see you later. And she just took off into the desert. And I ended up chasing her like into the neighboring gym's parking lot. And like we literally popped out of the bushes, and this like older couple was like, what's going on here?
Oh.
She's a little scamp. But yeah, so like basically like that's kind of it. She did really well about it, and it was okay. Kind of the point I'm bringing it up though is now I have homework again. This is the first time in, I don't know, since we finished college that I have homework. I have a sheet of homework to do of all of the stuff we did and all the stuff I have to do again with her.
like what?
So like one of the it's not really a trick. One of the things we learned is watch me, which is basically just like drive your dog focus on you, just like watch you. And there's a challenge on there to see if you get your dog to do it for 20 seconds. I don't think I can do that with her. She'll make eye contact with me. She got that trick pretty easily. But the only ones are like to do like a sequence of like stand, sit, down, sit, stand, and like to do that sequence back and forth a bit and see if she can actually has like the attention and like drive to do it. She struggles with stand. That's like the hardest one for me. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird having homework again. When they were handing it out, they're like, "Here's your homework." I was like, "Oh no, is there a test on this homework?"
That's the hard thing about being an adult is that when you have homework, it's because it's like for your benefit, not because you have to.
You know what's even funnier is that as an adult, I can look back and say like, homework was probably for your benefit too.
Sometimes.
No,
Sometimes.
I would disagree.
You don't think that doing multiplication tables helps you?
That's different. I wouldn't even call that homework.
That was homework when you were in 4th grade.
I never did it though.
Okay, maybe that's why you're so good at arithmetic, because you were always good at arithmetic. I was not. I was in 5th grade when I finally memorized like the up to the tens table.
It's like the test there was, oh, you have 5 minutes, fill out this row of multiplication.
Yeah.
I'm doing my sevens. I'm counting up by 7, 14, 21. I don't need to remember the table. I'm just doing this like in a thing.
Wow, you had an entirely different experience. Mine was a random assortment of multiplications, so they weren't. So you just had to like.
I think maybe mine was too, but I'm like really good at math, so I don't know if that was the thing. I'm just kidding. I don't know. That's like not homework to me. When I think of homework, I think of like crying at 3 a.m. doing physics.
Okay, all right, hold on.
because I've been there.
Okay,
doing
this
an
homework.
essay.
Yeah.
This is not that. This is more similar to like just the repetition of like multiplication tables.
Yes, if it matters. I mean, in like a school, most school doesn't matter. The school that mattered, the homework mattered. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, not all school matter. Anyway, do you think you got a lot out of homework, Senovia?
No.
Ever?
Well, I love math, like in general, so I got a lot out of that. Didn't get anything out of reading.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
You learn how to read.
I
though.
know how to read.
I've seen you do it.
I know how to do
It's
it.
very good.
Yeah, I used to do, or like, did you guys ever have like the full sheet of like cosine, tangents, and it was like 100 questions, you had to do it in a certain amount of time? That is literally pointless to me. Like, we never use that.
But like we use it for homework.
Yeah, I guess, it just depends
that's
on.
the funny
But like the
like
school that
you.
matters to you, you know.
That's true.
Like,
But like, personally, I don't use calculus, and I love calculus.
you kinda do.
I don't use geometry. I love geometry.
Oh my god, I hated
I
geometry.
love geometry.
You kind of use calculus. Like you're talking about like a revenue graph.
I
The
use
area
more
under the
statistics. I used a lot of statistics, but not well, because statistics are like the best math because it's the most human math.
I agree.
I can't talk about that 'cause I don't know.
Statistics.
get to-
I'll give you a brief history of statistics. It was literally started because two mathematicians were asked to come up with the odds of winning this thing, and they were like, "There's no math for that yet, so we'll make it up on the spot." And it was Pascal and someone else, I don't remember.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, because I had to do the history of math class in college, and we
that's
actually
cool.
like talked about it. Yeah, of like, it was basically like if two. I want to say it was horses. It was like if it's two horses that are racing, and then like there's like a rain, and like the race has to get suspended, so they have to like deal with like what are the odds of like this stuff, and like the odds get changed and things. So like they had to figure out all that stuff. So like literally all probability and statistics is directly a result of gambling. And for people who don't know, your boy loves gambling.
It's true. It's maybe not the best thing, but it is true.
Listen, if anything, I have intense control over that urge because otherwise I would be like at the casino all the time. And I've only been to the casino rarely.
The casinos are open at the moment.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway,
I keep close track.
I would argue all math is the most human math because math is how everything runs. You know, world's math.
No, incorrect. I would say that all math is the universe.
Mm-hmm.
All math is the world you live in. I don't think you are trigonometry. You
I'm not
are
statistics.
statistics. Yeah, you are.
But I'm like a collection.
You existing is part of statistics.
My existing creates statistics, but my existence is a collection of complex mathematical systems. That's the dumbest shit I've ever said, but it's like,
no, I think you are more statistics than you are any other kind of math
okay.
besides like biology.
I never took statistics, so I can't even argue about it.
Oh, then what are you talking about?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
You don't even know. Do you know what statistics is?
Generally speaking,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you know what statistics are, or do you know like
Are.
it like how people use statistics? Because there's a difference.
I have taken a machine learning class.
Okay, then you know
and I
how to
have an
calculate.
awareness
Then
of
no.
statistics.
Okay. Then you have a better awareness of statistics than like 90% of the population.
I mean, not to brag, but
Congratulations, man! You're one of the 10%.
yeah. But I don't know, math is cool. I've gained an appreciation for math. I think we talked about this several times, maybe off the podcast or whatever, but I've gained so much appreciation for math since I got older.
Yeah.
It's like banging my head. I literally cried because I couldn't learn long division in 4th grade. I was like, this is over for me. Like, I've gotten my basics of addition and all this kind of stuff. My career ends here. I'm 9 years old. Can't figure this out. Still to this day, don't know how to do long division by hand.
I can't. That's hard.
Yeah.
They changed it. They changed how you do it.
Oh yeah, they did.
It's so crazy how you could change math. Like it's the same thing.
So this is where like really base level proofs comes from, like mathematical proofs at a base level. Math itself isn't changing. It's just how we calculate. Like it's the arithmetic on top of the like base understanding. And it's actually what's more interesting, and people don't know this, is actually two sets of real numbers that are exactly the same but found through two separate methods.
That's like some secrets of the universe type.
Yeah.
Next level math.
It is actually kind of interesting. But yeah, there's two sets of like, they're exactly the same real numbers, but there's like two ways of proving real numbers exist basically. And like one involves like really thin slices of numbers, and the one involves like, I don't remember what the other version is. But yeah, I don't know.
What's a thin slice of a number? You mean like a 0.1?
It's basically to show that there's always basically like the reason that real numbers exist is because you're trying to show that there's always a number between any two sets of numbers. So you take increasingly small slices between two sets of numbers to show that like no matter how small you get the slice to be, there'll always be a number between the two of them. So like if you start between like, I don't know, 1 and 100, then like 50 and 25, and then like you just keep like shrinking that down until you're like 0.00001 like 1 and like 0.00000 like 2, so then you know there's a number in between them. But then using that method, there's actually no difference between like 0.0 repeating to the 9 and 0.0 repeating minus 1 like minus 10 with a 1 there.
It's crazy because you're like, oh, I don't know math, I don't remember anything, and then you just bust out like.
The thing is, like, I'm not bad at math, I'm bad at arithmetic.
Yeah.
There's like a real difference there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway,
I get it.
Enough of me nerding out about it.
No, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
It makes me feel smarter.
You guys ready to move on to home games?
Home game stuff.
Very nice. So because we have Senovia here, and the whole reason that we really wanted Senovia to be on this episode is because we want to talk about design. But I wanted to see first if like Joseph wanted to have any updates for like things he had worked on or not, and because I have a couple of things that I wanted to just talk about briefly.
Yeah, so I've finished kind of on some level implementing the dashboard. Some questions to ask today for me to finish implementing the dashboard. But I've just been going through and updating games kind of one by one to adapt to the new coordinate stuff. Everything is kind of different now. For example, I had multiple nodes before where they would be like an asset and text and something because you could do all this. But that was kind of a hacky way to build nodes. So things are separate now. You have a text node versus an asset node versus a shape node. And so there are just little things where I thought they would be quick, but in reality I have to kind of split nodes into separate things and kind of figure out how that all works. So it's taken longer than expected, and there's like 30 games. So, just kind of going through that. But at this point, it's kind of just the process of moving through them. Not super interesting, but I think the interesting part is the dashboard. So we'll talk about later.
Cool. For my part, really, like I finished reviewing the PR that you put out, like the code side of it. I still need to test it all the way still. Like I spun it up and everything, but I need to take a deeper look at it and make sure that see if there's anything that really is odd to me. It
isn't, to be clear, the code in that is not finished. And it's what I'm working on still now. So like a lot of those games don't work. That dashboard isn't done because I haven't pushed any of my recent changes. But like the pieces that you wanted to get out, like home names and the other little things,
Yeah, and actually, like home names is something I wanted to ask about too. So one of the things that I wanted from there was a way of sending text strings back and forth, or from the client to the server, basically, right?
Yes.
And the way that you do that with home names is you spin up an HTTP server.
Yes.
That catches and then responds back.
Yes.
Is that the approach we want to take for a game that needs you to do player input like that? Should we be setting up like an HTTP server or no? Because the problem really is like I don't know how we would do it with the squisher through the socket.
Sorry, what are you asking? You say player input. What
Yeah. So what I mean by that is the use case for it is for the Twitter game when people are putting in their Twitter handles.
Right.
So I'm basically, I need each user to put in their Twitter handle as they log in, and then that goes to the server, and it stores all their Twitter handles on that player, so we can track which player is which, and also so we can, query against all the.
Couldn't you just use the memory, like in-memory mapping there for your game instead of having to use home names at all? Just set up a thing. I have a map of player ID to Twitter name.
Oh yeah, no, okay, that piece, yes. What I was looking at home names for wasn't a way of storing that information. It was more a way of getting that information, because you bypass entirely the squisher by doing that. It's like we don't squish that and unsquish it. We just send an HTTP request. So like, is that the approach we want to take, or are we looking at using the squisher still to send that information back and forth from the user, from like their client to the server?
The intention of home names is just to persist
Names.
meta player info, currently just names, outside of one game. So because every game is its own server instance, it doesn't share memory. Mm-hmm. If I need to have some sort of metadata that does persist between games, it should be in home names. Mm. If it's Twitter information, I would argue that since that's specific to the Twitter game, it wouldn't be classified.
Yeah, it shouldn't go to home names. Sorry, what I meant by the HTTP server is I meant, should the game itself spin up an HTTP server to catch and respond, or no?
The game shouldn't, because there's one home names instance per home games instance.
Not an instance of home names. I mean, just in a general sense, to solve the problem of like player needs to put in text and that needs to go to the server to store.
No, that's all through input. That's all outside.
So that should go through the squisher then.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't happen now. So
it does.
No, I don't do it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I haven't implemented that piece yet, so I was just curious as to how you had implemented it for home names.
Yeah, for taking text input from the client, you say it's the same way that all other stuff is given through. It's just that there's the on input handler now, so that still all goes through the thing. It's just kind of handled differently because of the way that the text box prompt is handled and stuff. So
okay,
yeah.
That makes
sense.
I
wasn't clear on the question.
Yeah, that's my bad. It's all good. Okay, I mean that's pretty much all I had. If we don't have to spin up an HTTP server for each time.
Yeah, no.
Because I was very confused. I was like, why?
Yeah, no. Home names is just one thing comes up when you bring everything else up. The way that like I bring up home games and it has kind of one main server, it has one constant kind of connection out to homegames.link, and then it has this home names thing. It's kind of like this little mini infrastructure that you bring up every time. Mm-hmm. But the game itself doesn't do that stuff. But yeah, that's all.
Okay. I understand.
Dashboard stuff.
Yeah, so this is the part of the podcast where we hammer Senovia with questions, and we hope that she holds up. So just kind of to start off with, do you want to talk a little bit like the design concept for home games in general? I know we were talking like before the podcast, talking about like the view of like the bevel, like you want it to look like a TV screen or like a phone screen or something like that. Do you want to like go talk about that a little bit more?
So it's based on the logo of Home Games, how it's the couch and then the TV. Initially, I'd want all of the games to be on the TV. And so basically you can click like a screen or like a square on the screen, but your whole like computer screen looks like a TV, so it has the bezels and stuff like that. And then when you click a game, it takes up the size of the screen TV. Mm-hmm. So it looks like you're playing a game on a TV, but it's on your computer.
I see. Okay. Did you want to talk a little more about that too, Joseph? Because like my next set of questions was actually like not about the dashboard.
Sure. So, I guess. Did you want to ask like the design language thing, or is that like a separate question?
Well, really, what I was going to talk about was just some of the questions I had about like consistency in games. Yeah. The dashboard to me is more like your project more, because like I haven't written any code for the dashboard, so I don't know if you want to talk a little more about it with Senovia and just kind of like where we're at right now, where we want to be, because you guys were still making some adjustments today too. So like, And I don't even know, is there a way for people to see what the dashboard is right now?
At the moment, no. I was thinking I would take a small video demo and put it in this video.
Oh, I see.
I'm gonna show that. There's like a version of it, I think, in one of my developer updates where I had an early version of this with the scroll bar, but it doesn't look like that anymore, really.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll put something up in the video so people can get a frame of reference for what we're talking about. But the kind of questions I had specifically for Senovia were the kind of dashboard is just this very at its core this list of games, but there's also the ability to have kind of a settings. Like the only setting that we have today is your name, and that's kind of talking through home names, like we were just talking about updating your player name. So like in your view, that little like modal of settings that comes up, do you think that's the thing that it should always be, or should it be kind of less focused on settings and just more focused on name? Because at the moment all we can think about is name. I mean, in the future I think we'll have this idea of like other settings, and I think being able to kind of plan for that in the future makes sense, but I don't know at the moment how overkill we want to be with settings.
What would you even be setting?
That's what I'm saying. We don't know besides name, but there's the potential that in the future we think of, like debug stuff we've talked about before, being able to see
like debug logs for developers as they're making their games.
Basically, tools to help you. And then
the other thing I actually just thought of right now is players like piece color. It's like if you could set like what default color all your like squares are, or something.
But that would be like for a specific game.
See, that's what I was thinking. Is like just as a default, like we could have a way of saying like this player prefers this color. So if there is a color like this, you can take it.
Or maybe like an avatar, where it's like, oh, you have a name and you have an icon.
Yeah, maybe.
Like your profile.
Yeah, but there's no real persistence. So like the idea of a profile only exists for this session. So like, what am I setting? You know what I mean? But then we kind of
if you're playing it in like a group setting, it's like a party or something, you'd want to. It's like if you go bowling.
Yeah.
And you set your name and your face and whatever, then.
Yeah. Yeah.
People like being personalized.
That's true.
I don't know if that first was about bowling or.
Well, because like the idea that people like set pictures of themselves as like game avatars is weird to me, but I know people do it.
They do that at like Peter Piper or like Chuck E. Cheese, where the car races. They take your picture.
That's true.
So I mean.
So that would be another thing. I mean, okay, name and your icon and maybe something else. I mean,
it could be like sound. You could do like brightness. You could.
Maybe like a system set, but yes. But there's potential. I think it's wishy-washy because we don't know what we're doing.
I think the debugging would be a completely different setting, though. Like I don't know. I think that would be separate. Like I think if you are on the home screen, there should be like the home button for consistency reasons. But then I think there should be a settings button. And then if you go into a game, the setting button goes away, but the home screen button is still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that makes sense. But that does mean we're going to have to get a design for a settings button.
Well, you can pay someone to do that.
Okay.
Now I'll do that.
But yeah, that totally makes sense. But okay, so settings menu as a concept probably should exist. We just don't know what we're putting in it.
Mm-hmm.
So the white thing that comes up that says settings is not final look, but should be.
I think
there.
it would be not necessary, but I think it's a good touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also one of the other questions I had, and we can actually touch on this on the dashboard. But last episode, just now, we're talking about achievements in home games for each individual game. And basically, what we came up with was it's more of an arcade game system of like high score concept, basically. So like, would that be something we would add to like the little pop up on there, like maybe like a little badge or something indicating like these achievements have been met? And this actually goes back to what we were talking about last about like limiting the number of achievements. Like we could actually just say like your game has a maximum of 5 achievements. And then you have 5 badges on each game, like up to 5 badges on each game. Then we can fill them in or not.
You saying that would show up in the session modal?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? So the session, so that thing, like when you click a game, it says create or join.
Yeah.
Should achievements show up on that, or should they show up somewhere else?
How long would these achievements last?
So they persist for the session. So it's like high scores or whatever. How it, when you unplug the machine, it goes away. Basically, that equivalent here is like someone closed home games, but it's just for this party.
Oh, okay.
So like we started it up, and the achievement is move 100 squares in square. That goes away when I close it because we don't have the kind of outside of thing to save any of that stuff. So that kind of achievements as a whole is kind of a larger other conversation because we want to do them in general, but we don't know how we want to do them yet. So
I mean, I like the idea of like, let's say you're at a party and they're like, let's play like 10 rounds of Clicktionary. Every time you win and you do the next round, like your little guy is like highlighted or something in some way. Say like, you won the last round or something.
And in kind of like the beyond whatever little meta list of challenges or whatever thing is for the game, achievements or accomplishments or whatever you want to call them, that little list of you can do this and someone has done this.
Oh.
Like Yazeed moved 100 squares.
But if your achievements go away when you click out of Homegames, how do we have that?
We don't. So it's like
One of the ideas we had was just to temporarily store them in like a JSON file or something like that. But like we said, we like the flesh of how achievements function isn't there so much as I was just asking like more at like a higher level. If we were going to implement something like achievements, would we display that on the dashboard on each game, or would we have like a separate like achievements page?
Oh. I would say you would want both.
Like a separate page with just all the achievements that were completed,
Yeah.
and on each game, for the achievements page, that would just be like every game, and then probably like sorted by completed to not completed, and then each of those sorted alphabetically. Yes.
so not like a per game thing, but an overall thing.
Well, so that'd be the achievements page itself, but then on each game we would list out like the achievements on that game.
Yeah.
Okay. And that would be on the session modal then.
The pop up that comes up.
Yeah.
We call things names, but there's no actual consistency. It's just like, I don't know, session modal, play modal, button thing, just whatever.
I think I like the term session modal. I think we should start to iron out our terminology a little bit.
Yeah, but it's like a real thing at that point.
Yeah.
It is a real thing.
What is this, like a tech project? What are you doing? No, I agree. It's just, it sucks. Having process and
It
consistency.
sucks.
Okay, so did you want to start with your questions, and we'll go to my questions then?
Oh, gosh, what were my questions? Oh, well, I just had the general question of if we want things to look a certain way, we can control what the dashboard looks like. We can control what Homegames looks like on a brand level, call it brand. But when someone makes a game, how much are we telling them what to do?
None.
None at all? Okay, perfect.
Hold on. Our earlier discussion, though, about the Homegames placement, right? The home icon. Yes?
That's not in there.
That's not, okay, right. That they don't
field of
control that,
work,
though. But they also, sorry, she does this.
Dreaming?
No, she lays on her back with her arms up. She wants you to rub her belly.
Oh.
No.
What was I saying?
The consistent home button.
Oh yeah, so the
corner.
home button. Okay, so hold on. So the home button. We were talking about earlier about the bevel and the yellow and the black, right? All that stuff that they can't control that. What if their base game is black based or yellow based? That sounds. I mean that their base, like their underlying game, their underlying.
Display.
Yeah, not their theme, but like their underlying node, like they're literally like their root nodes, like what this root is, or what is it? What is the function? It's like the get root. Yeah, what the get root function, what that returns. Like if that node is black or if that node is yellow, it's gonna look jank.
So just to get caught, I don't know. Okay, so the back of the thing is yellow. It's like the Homegames yellow, whatever. is like the kind of base color of the thing that we put everything on top of. It's all yellow on the sides, and then we put this Homegames TV screen thing in it with a black border. So we have yellow, and then a black border, and then basically a canvas for anybody to make a game within. And you're saying that if they make their base black, it will look bad because it looks the same as the bezel?
Well, it'll look like they'll have more space to move, but they don't.
Well, ideally, the bezel will look like a bezel. It won't look just like black rectangles.
I see. Okay, so
But even if it has like that kind of a sheen that it has on your mock, and it has kind of a little effect on it, unless we have some sort of a gradient on the color, it'll be a color of a bezel, and that color can also be the same color as something within it.
yeah, and I think it'll look weird if, like, say for example, like my root node is black, the bezel is black, and I'm trying to move more to the left than I can because I don't realize that that's actually like bezel.
We could do a really thin white border.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of like one of the things that I would bring up of like, I could see us running into problems with something like this. The other thing too is like we may want to allow for a reverse view, basically, where it's yellow on the inside and black on the outside, for people who need to switch the two colors.
But that is a yellow bezel, and that's not the brand.
Well, well, it would resolve our problem of like if somebody used a black base node and they'd run up against the bezel, because regardless, the bezel is always going to be a darker color right now. So we allowed like the rotation, so it was black on the outside, yellow on the inside.
It would be the same problem if they had a yellow root.
Well, but then they would just use the original version. Basically, what I'm saying is that you can say like I would like the standard or the reverse.
Oh, to give someone the option of inverting them for their own colors to work better.
Yeah.
But then it would look like it's a yellow TV.
Yes.
I don't.
So part of the other reason I'm bringing this up is because at some point we're going to have to tackle color blindness.
So adding a colorblind mode to say all of the like reds and greens are now reds and
Something
greens
else.
or something. Or
Yeah. As home games gets more, right?
It continue to blow up.
Yeah, let's say like for example like somebody was using Square for as an example, right? So like say like 10 people are playing Square, odds are at least one of them is going to be colorblind, and if one person's colorblind, Square does not work right now if you're colorblind, because it would be really hard if you're colorblind trying to figure out which node you are.
But without you doing work as the Square developer, I'm not changing your Square colors.
You are correct, but part of what I was saying with that though is like that setting could be part of the colorblindness control.
So you can maybe set a colorblind mode flag in the settings menu, and then when I join Square, it tells his game, hey, they're in colorblind mode, so maybe do whatever you do differently.
Yeah, but then we would also do something like that on the dashboard, and I don't know how well yellow and black are to tell apart and stuff like that. I don't know.
It's interesting because like in real life, TVs don't have this problem a lot because like modern TVs, the bezels are very thin, obviously, so whatever, like you don't really see them. But when you do, you see something that's like real life versus a thing on a screen.
Yeah.
Even if that thing on the screen were the perfect representation of whatever the color is of the bezel, it won't look the same because they're not the same, like in the same thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's all pixels. So we're simulating a bezel to say, here's a color of a thing that should look like a bezel, and someone else can use the exact same color. I would argue we should do nothing. Because not only because I'm lazy, but that is a factor. Yeah.
Okay.
But we have, so the black color that is on that bezel now is branded, like in the colors enum, it's our object.
It's like
It's
our
HG
black.
black.
Yeah.
It is like brand black. It's not actually 000255, it's like 26255. So it's a slightly different looking black. So if someone says just black on the background, it's not going to look exactly the same because it's a different color. And if someone says HG black, they're intentionally setting it to be the same color, which maybe that's another stylistic thing they can do. But you kind of have to be intentional about matching the color exactly. And if you do, you can tweak it a bit to make it not look like that. But
I see.
I don't care. You know what I mean?
Okay. As long as there's a way to differentiate between game section and then the bezel. Because if there isn't, then I think we'd run no problem.
I think if we do run into that, we could easily just add in a really thin white border to their game. Or
I would add
our
it,
bezel.
to the bezel, because if we add something,
right.
it would take away space from them.
Yeah, and I mean, part of the nice thing about having the assets now is we could actually make the bezel out of, like, background it as an asset.
It's true.
We
Yeah,
could
with
just
the
change it.
with the Homegames root now, you can always have like some sort of base image on the back of everything. So that is true. But no, cool. That was an easier discussion about because I was thinking if we have this kind of design thing, where every game has. Maybe you look at your dashboard thing, which I'll also put up in the video of the picture of your dashboard like sketch.
Okay.
But in that thing, if you look at kind of the screenshots, and I know it's hard because it was like you did it with a pen and stuff, but it's this like background is orange, and then the images all kind of have like it's like a transparent thing where you can see through the orange. And I don't know if it's because you did it in pen and that was like the intention, or like, you know what I mean? No?
No.
It was just supposed to be image over orange?
It was just supposed to be. It was just supposed to signify that this box is different from the screen.
So the orange wasn't even a thing?
No.
Oh. Okay.
I was using the orange as just like, here's the image of, like, a screenshot of the game.
I spent like 5 minutes holding my laptop up to that construction paper trying to match the orange. It's okay. It's okay.
That's honestly some like low key dedication right there.
You could do like an orange border around all of the game images, so then you're tying back the color of from the logo, whatever that orange is, that salmon color.
It's the same. It's the same. Like,
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that's kind of what I have now. I guess what I'm getting at is looking at kind of the way that those colors were structured and kind of the consistency of it all, and just thinking about, well, we're going to give this to someone who can do anything. So if their screenshot comes up in this kind of, blue, orange, pinkish kind of things, and their thing is just a nightmare of colors, are you against someone just having something that completely clashes with that look because it's displayed in the dashboard and you click into it, it's a completely different looking
Yes.
thing? Okay.
The absolute atrocity of colors. It's a clown circus in here.
Cool. Well, that makes things easier, I think, because the second we start to enforce like style rules on other people, I don't think that works.
Right.
It also becomes a very demanding process of reviewing.
Yeah. Yes, it adds more work on us, and it makes someone else less free to like do something interesting.
Yeah. Although if you do make a clown circus of a game and I'm reviewing it, I might comment like this. Maybe look at the colors.
That is a conversation we'll have to really narrow down the things that we do and do not say you can change or like force you to change.
Yeah.
Because I want to keep that list as small as possible, but we do need to have a list of things.
Right.
That are hard rejected.
Yeah, like we will judge your code, we won't judge your color scheme. We will judge your variable names, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
I mean, listen, as long as it's not explicit variable names, I don't mind.
Well, yes, I guess, but not. No one should have a bad word in their variable name, like realistically.
Yeah, because ideally, like, kids may see this and.
But kids, if they listen to this, they hear us swearing, and kids, if they go whatever, like,
Well,
I'm
talking
not trying
about
to
the
protect
game.
kids.
Like, if we ever release Homegames like into the world, a kid could find it and not even know that it's a podcast.
See, I meant more that like if somebody was going to do this as like an open source project, they're likely to put it on their resume.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
true.
if a company is looking through our code base and some Joe Schmo wrote the F word as part of their variable names, that might be a ding against our open source person.
I think the thing is, like, we will eventually need to have a list of no-nos, I guess.
We need to have a list of no-nos, but we also, I mean, like, I get this is one specific thing where I'm kind of wishy-washy on because I don't think that I care enough to really like go and review someone's variable names. But there is a line where they have like a really bad word, then I can't allow that in our thing.
Exactly.
But there's something there, like, and if it's you can't have these words, then what are the words? Like, we need to have rules.
Yeah.
If we have rules, then we need to enumerate things.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be like hell. hell, like, or like goddamn, or like gosh darn it. It would be like the N word, like.
Yeah, but then you could like you have to have a list somewhere that says you can't say the N word, but like you have to think of all of those things of what you can't do.
Yeah.
And that just
Because
sounds.
people will think of things that's not on the list, and then we'll be like, well,
And that's something. So like a larger conversation. This is a separate topic, but in Call of Duty, there's been a lot of talk lately because Infinity Ward has been, trying to crack down on people putting racist stuff and bad words and whatever in their names and all this stuff. And the thing is, every time that you try to go against what people are doing and say, oh, all these people are saying there's stuff to be really offensive stuff. Let's add a blacklist for this word, this word, this word. They'll figure out a way. They change the L to a 7. They change the this to an underscore. They change the whatever. And my thing didn't catch it. So then it's a constant back and forth of they're trying to be bad people, and I'm putting all this effort into
right.
not.
But the thing is, like, if you're a programmer and you want to develop a game on here,
It's a different audience.
yeah. you're not gonna
There's
be
some level of like assumed professionalism.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes, assumed. But there is a point when if someone breaks this assumption, we have to point to something to be like, hey.
Or like a code of conduct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like we talked about it, wanting this so many times. I truly think, realistically, we should consult with a lawyer.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Yeah, we
No, but
basically
like
said,
I'm not joking this
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I really do think we should sometime soon.
Talk to a lawyer about like what legally would have to limit.
Yeah, like I mean, say that we blow up and get very popular next year. Are we even legally okay to like do what we think we want to do? I have no clue.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't know either. They say that actually getting a lawyer to like look over stuff is not that expensive.
That's
it's
what-
retainer that's
yeah.
expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally down for like one of these weekends. We just go and get a consultation, you and I, and like ask all the questions that we've had, and see what that is. Because I don't know what we should be doing.
It would be an interesting thing.
It would.
You should go to a law student.
I actually know a law student.
Yeah.
I know a couple.
Because I mean, they want to do this stuff as like a learning experiment.
But it's like this is like a very specific kind of law. There's so many
That's true, but the
specializations.
thing is, if they get into the field, they'll need to know about this stuff. So I mean,
It's just I don't want to be that guy like, hey, remember 4 years ago when we last talked? Well, I heard you're a
Anyway.
lawyer now.
You want to look over this project?
we
Check
should get
out-
coffee.
Oh my god, I'll
later.
never be that guy. I'll never be a let's grab coffee type dude.
Listen, I'm telling you, you say that because you have Senovia, all right? If you were single, the let's grab coffee move is a safe move.
Well, that's a different thing. I mean, like for your personal business gains or whatever. Let's grab coffee. It's gross. No, anyway, yeah, I think we just need to have those rules. But I think, yeah, like Senovia said, the people that make a game are not the people who play Call of Duty. There's a different bar person there.
Yeah. I guess another one of the questions I had is, should we have like not guidelines but suggestions, basically, like, hey, like maybe think about these things, and if so, like, what kind of suggestions would we be looking at? Like, hey, like your colors are up to you, but like, hey, we suggest like, this is a grid, so like, consider it as a grid, or
Yeah.
like what else would we? I don't even know what else we would do, because I know we want this as open as possible so people can make as much deranged nonsense as they can, but I mean, I think that just like making suggestions would go a long way of getting people who maybe aren't 100% familiar or don't have like a pre-existing idea. Yeah, basically.
Even if we don't have a style guide, what should we kind of guide people into, like in a very general sense?
I think we should tell them our style guide. So like, these are the colors that we use, and then this is the space that you have, and then maybe like, I don't know, like what would work best in like a crowd setting, or
You mean kind of like play type, like
Yeah.
what kind of games to make?
mm-hmm.
I think that's tough because we don't really know ourselves. But at a certain point, we can kind of realize what this is and be like, hey, maybe instead of building a game where, I don't know, whatever, you click the button and the number goes up. Maybe you click the button and their number goes up. It's like a multiplayer thing, like kind of having that kind of a guideline of like, instead of this, do this. But even then, it's like you can do whatever you want. So I'm kind of weird about. Anyway,
Right.
I don't know.
And I mean, I'm sure like when we get our first developer on here, we'll probably like be in communication with them somehow And so I think it'd be very easy to say like, hey, like this is just a suggestion. You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Because they could say like, actually, I want it to be like this, and then it's like, cool, that's it.
Well, I think part of the thing that we'd run into is that if we ever made like a demo game, for example, like code has a way of finding its way into other people's code, if that makes sense. Of like demo code tends to get propagated. So like if we were gonna make a demo, whatever styling we put in there, there's a really good chance that just becomes like the de facto styling for all games. Until somebody gets like really comfortable and they start going off the they start going off the train tracks.
It's kind of there's a different thing though. I mean, I know what you're saying, Yazeed, where I think especially with us in the past few months, where it's like I'll take this thing that Joseph did, rip the code and repurpose it. So in its structure and its whatever, it's kind of doing the same thing. And I'm taking this and I'm moving it all over the place. But that's like a different thing than actual kind of effect that it has in the game. You know what I mean?
I don't think. Okay, that is true. What I meant by that more is like, for example, like React has example code. A lot of React code looks like that example code.
Oh, yeah.
Partially that's because they suggest that it looks like that example code, but also it's because people are lazy and they tend to just copy and paste what they assume is working, right? And I think that that's true about like pretty much every developer knows like the Stack Overflow jokes, but like you just like code tends to get propagated down the stack, especially if it's like early code. So like the demo is in theory going to be like the first thing that people are going to look at to see like how it works and functions, and then from there they're going to probably like pull some code out to like start their game. So whatever we put into that demo becomes like the base that they're going to work off of. So will every game look exactly like the demo? Probably not. Will every game look like at least 50% like the demo? Probably yes. So like in some way that does introduce like a styling guide, or not like an enforced one, but like a soft like suggestatory one.
It's kind of a combination of like you have some sort of linter config for your style, and then you have your best practices, which is kind of like the wishy-washy part of it. You know, but I think like you said, if we define a demo that is good, however we define that today, not today, but you know,
I'll write it.
then
4-hour podcast. Let's do it.
Yeah, God, can you imagine? No, but what was I saying?
Your linter configs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's fine. You know, at the end of the day, JavaScript is JavaScript, and a lot of it is similar. Like you can only write the same thing so many times. You know, it's just you have functions, and you have classes, and you have variables and objects.
Well, let me tell you, Joseph, there's actually a class about that. We took it.
Another class I didn't take in school.
We took our time with it together.
Oh yeah, that sucked. That was terrible. I didn't know that was what you were talking about. Anyway, we went to school together, and now we don't go to school anymore. What's next on the list?
Next on the list is, unless you guys have something else for home games. Do you have anything else you want to talk about for the design Senovia?
No, I don't have anything.
What's have you ever seen brand like clouds?
Nope.
Sorry, that was
Wait, I've also never seen a brand cloud. What is a brand
It's
cloud?
a word cloud of your brand.
Oh.
Oh.
Cool. Fun. Exciting.
Well, pretty much everyone has that one in it, I bet.
But like what's maybe you can think about this for another time. But what's the Home Games brand word cloud?
Funky.
Okay.
Just the word funky.
That's the whole thing?
That's it.
I love that.
Funky. I like Friendship Ruiner.
Why?
I don't know. There's something about like Mario Kart or like Mario Party, which is like really fun to play with your friends when you're done, or like halfway through the game when your friend like steals all your stars, or like hits you with a blue shell and you're just like, I'll kill you myself.
No.
I want my games to be like that. I want people to experience that like split second rage when you're like about to win, your friend like yoinks it and you're just like, I'm gonna die, and you're gonna die with me.
Funky Friendship Ruiner.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, hit the triple
You
F.
added in a word now. It has to start with an F.
Yeah, I know where that one's going.
Fiery.
Ooh, fuego.
Fuego. That was good.
Thank you.
You can say flaming. Maybe not the intention.
That's
That's not the thing I'm trying to get across.
We were just talking about a lot of stuff earlier.
I'm gonna say fiery. Funky Fiery Friendship Ruiner.
Fun.
Fun.
I like it.
Anyway, yeah, cool. Well, nice to know that we have kind of a more consistent view on the style stuff than I thought we might have.
Yeah, actually, this was a lot shorter than I thought it would be. I thought this would be like a knockdown, drag out, like no styles. Are you guys ready to move on to song of the week then?
Song of the week. The song is playing.
Oh, okay.
And now it's not. Song of the week. What's your song of the week, Izzy?
So first of all, I listened to Grace, and I understand what you meant about you gotta be poor before you can like experience wealth in that song. Do I understand what it's talking about? No, I don't know any of the words he used. Did I understand what you meant? Yeah, I do. That song starts off awful. I literally listened to the first 30 seconds of it, and I was like, this either gets good from this point, but like it can't possibly get worse. Honestly, like the dude is like barely opening his mouth, and it's just like so off tempo. Like that song on a metronome is nowhere near what the beat to the actual song is in the opener. It's incredible. Yeah, it's a real experience.
Do you know what song
is he talking about? Young Thug?
No, it's talking about Grace by Lil Baby and 42 Doug. I should have played it on the way here for you to, but I don't know if you remember, but it's
awful in the opening.
It starts off very bad.
Yeah,
and it's got he's like mumbling and slurring the whole time, and then it starts, and then Lil Baby starts going, and it's great. Anyway, did you like it overall?
I liked the latter half of it. Yeah. Like, I liked when it got good. I wish the whole song was like that. But it comes back to, like, one of those fundamental problems I have with hip-hop. And it's, like, hip-hop tends to change their beat and, like, change stuff, like, midway through. Because, I mean, like, that's, like, what the point is. Like, the topic will change slightly, or they'll be talking about something differently. And so the beat's changing to change with that. And I don't know. It just kind of like opposes my general when I listen to music.
Like all of the switches and stuff.
Yeah, like all the like changes, like especially like with the tempo that he's rapping at changes to match the tempo of the song itself, and that like subtle change affects the listening experience almost. I don't know.
That's so funny because that's literally my favorite part of modern music.
No, listen, I understand. I understand that like music has like that flow change to it, but a lot of the music I listen to doesn't. A lot of the music I listen to is like one beat and like just like pretty static throughout. But I don't know. That's just like, I think it's just like a different thing because I tend to listen to music when I'm doing other stuff. It's like I just want it as like background noise.
But then that's the kind of same thing I do, and that's why I would argue that I'm not arguing with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I have the attention span of a squirrel, and I'm constantly doing other things, listening to music. So the fact that the flow changes and the beat changes every 30 seconds keeps me up, like it keeps me going because it doesn't stay the same.
I think I'm a little bit opposite. What I'm trying to get into is just like there's that moment when you're like writing code, for example, or when you're playing a game. And like for a little bit, you'll know you're writing code or you're playing a game. But then eventually, like as you do it, that feeling like falls away, and you actually like forget that you're the one typing or moving the mouse, and just like code is being written or like your character is moving on screen. And it's like a lot of my music is like just trying to get me to that state. So like, that's why it's like noticeable in the beginning, and then like as you listen to it, that's like the other thing too. Like a lot of my songs sound very similar. It's like I sort of like fades to black almost, like you just falls off your radar.
Like you're trying to hit a meditative state or something.
Yeah, like the flow state. I think
that's so weird. Yeah. I get it though. That makes sense. We just hit it in different ways.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
But my song of the week is actually 8.02 by Danger.
Have my pen, please. Thank you. 8.02 by who?
Danger. Spelled out correctly.
Okay. Is that like every other song?
No.
Okay.
No. This song is, how would I describe it? You're in the fight of your life, and this song is just like, it's like, okay, you know like the songs from Doom? Like, it's like that. It's like pumping in the background, and you're like desperately trying to like avoid death, and it's just like screaming in the background. It's so much
like
fun.
Heavy guitars and stuff? Or like
no, it's like, I don't know if you ever played the game Fury, but it's from it's from the soundtrack for the game Fury. I don't remember the genre it's from. It's like all electronica, but it's like it's like an intense song. Like it just is like 100. It's like 100 miles an hour from the like get go. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. It's a switch up from your last songs of the week,
Yes.
which were from Maiden Heights.
That's right.
So last week, Yazeed and I talked about basically there's this whole conversation about the music that he liked, whatever, is no longer on Spotify because the band broke up and whatever, this whole thing. So it's like songs are just on YouTube. So I had to go find them on YouTube, use a different search. Anyway, whole thing. But I listened to Murakami, Death and Forgiveness by Maiden Heights.
Thank you.
And realized I've heard Death before.
Yes.
I think it's on one of the albums that I listened to previously.
Yeah. I've definitely recommended Death before.
Yeah.
Not on the podcast though.
That one. My note here is if I were into this, I'd be into this, and it's because it's like the genre is not my thing, but that's a good version of a song that I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Murakami, I actually liked a whole lot. I put cool, woozy, and nice, and then I put blank because towards the end in the background there's a blank in the background of the thing. But that was fun. And then, Forgiveness, I actually liked a whole lot. That one was very different, and it was very bouncy and, like, dancey, all by the same people, which I thought was kind of interesting. When I was on YouTube playing them, though, they were shuffling, and it hit Panther.
Yeah.
That one freaked me out because I heard the beat, and I immediately knew it. So I went and remembered it was a Maxo Cream song. He's a rapper I really like. And Maxo Cream rapped over that beat before, and it was, like, a super different thing. So the song... it's called Out the Front Door by Maxo Cream.
Oh, I know that song.
Yeah, that's the... anyway. The beat is very much a part of that song for Maxo Cream, so it's crazy that it just came from your thing, which is like an underground thing you can only find on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Kind of weird how that worked out.
So one of the things is like Maiden Heights, when they were still putting out albums, they were like critically acclaimed. Like I think all of their albums have like incredible reviews from like music critics. They really liked it, and I think they were like one of the first like just duos that were putting out just like with something like similar to this.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. And also like both of them are still active, and one of them, the dude who does all the beats and stuff, he's a hip hop producer. So like that is actually like his world. Like this like indie pop thing is not his actual like life.
Yeah. You could tell too, because it definitely, that's why it's fun. It's like a fun version of that. It's not boring in the way that a lot of that music is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So it's funny because I didn't have really any ideas for my song of the week this week, and so when I went and looked up what song that was from, I went and listened to the Persona tape, which is what that Maxo Cream song is from.
Mm-hmm.
And so my song of the week is "Big Worm" by Maxo Cream from the Persona tape.
Is it Max O Cream?
Maxo Cream, Maxokream. He's a big dude. He's from Texas. He's one of the very few people these days who is like making truly like violent, aggressive rap music in a way that people really don't a lot, because it's a lot of it's about like doing drugs and stuff like that. And he definitely does raps about doing drugs, but a lot of it is just like just dark sounding rap music. Angry sounding rap music.
How does that? Okay, wait. What's the song that he does that over Panther? Because Panther is like not that aggressive. It's like a slower song.
Look up Out the Front Door. He adds another thing. He adds another sample. I don't know if there's a Future song called "Move That Dope." Where in the background the sample is push it. It's just that's always in the back, and I wasn't sure if that itself was sampled from somewhere else.
That's from Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so then it samples Salt and Pepper, Push It in the same thing, and so Out the Front Door samples that song over the Maiden Heights sample. So it's like a weird thing, and then he raps.
Okay, that's really wild. This is like when a rapper interpolated an O Wonder song. You know, it's like
That was Lil Uzi Vert.
like what the heck?
Yeah.
That's like the craziest thing. I think it's weird when like indie pop gets used by hip hop. I'm like, there's like indie pop's like the most underground gets. I feel like to some extent.
That's like one of my favorite things about modern hip hop, though, is that it doesn't have to sound like anything.
No,
you
yeah.
could rap over anything.
Yeah.
And like doing whatever with your voice, as long as there's like a duh, duh, duh every now and then.
Yeah.
You could bring it back in and like rap over it. It's crazy what people do. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's like very impressive. But Big Worm. Have you ever seen Friday?
Is that a movie?
The movie Friday.
No.
You should watch Friday because Big Worm is a reference to Friday, which is a classic movie we just watched like 2 days ago.
Okay.
We've seen it several times, but we just watched it again 2 days ago.
Okay, I never even heard of this movie before.
Ice
You never
Cube.
heard of it?
No.
Wow.
He's Yazeed though.
But
It's a classic movie. It's like Ice Cube and Chris Tucker classic. There's 3 movies, but the first one's the best.
Okay. Friday.
Anyway, song's called Big Worm by Maxo Cream. Song of the week. It's a great song. Senovia. Song of the week.
My song of the week and multiple weeks is Savage Remix
I knew it would be that.
by Megan Thee Stallion featuring Beyonce.
Yeah. So are you a
I'm a
Beyonce fan?
Beyonce fan.
Are you a Beyonce fan?
Yes, I am absolutely in the Beehive.
You can tell from the shirt.
I love her so much. And I love Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah. It was a great collaboration. I've been following Megan Thee Stallion since her remixes and her like her very first mixtapes and stuff.
Gotta get the
So-
hipster points in there. She has
I'm
been
just
following
saying,
Megan Thee Stallion for a very
yeah,
long
and
time.
so and she's always said that she's always wanted to rap or have a collaboration with Beyonce because they're both from Houston. I'm just so happy
Beyonce's
for
from
her.
Houston?
How do you know?
I know nothing about Beyonce. I'm gonna be honest. The only thing I know about Beyonce is she made the song "All the Single Ladies." And that's all I know from her. I'm not even joking. I don't know
Yes.
anything else from her.
Yes,
Also,
Beyonce
Maxo
is
Cream's from
Southern.
Houston.
Yeah, no, they're
That's
all like best friends.
Yeah, it's true.
Houston's apparently popping for.
Yeah.
Pop
For music,
culture,
yeah.
yeah.
Travis
Oh,
Scott's
yeah.
from Houston.
I don't know who that is.
Biggest rapper
Pimp
ever.
C.
Not really. Pimp C. I don't think he knows who Pimp C is.
I don't
Or
think so
UGK.
either.
It's okay.
No.
It's Texas. Texas is big.
Okay.
Literally.
Thank you. If you had to describe this song in like an emotive
You
way,
might know it. It's
all over the
in
radio.
TikTok.
Savage. Ruthless, nasty.
I know this song.
You see?
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
So that's the original.
But it's in TikTok is the key here. If it's not a TikTok song, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I knew the Dojo Cat song, the same.
Dojo Cat.
Dojo Cat. What is her name?
Dojo Cats are much better. Are you talking about Juicy or the other one?
No,
Say So?
Yeah, say so.
Yeah, I heard that song on TikTok and I was like,
That's a big
pretty
TikTok
banging.
song, too.
So I listened to that song.
That song's all over the radio too.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I don't listen to it.
Savage and that Doja Cat song are like all over 98.3. Like all they play.
Mm-hmm.
It's very frustrating. I've heard Savage like every day for the past 3 weeks.
They don't play the Beyonce one though.
Thank God.
Oh my god.
Ooh, got him. I'm gonna describe the song in like 2 words. How would you describe it?
Number 1.
Can't argue with that.
All right.
She's not wrong. You're not wrong. It is number 1. It's just a bad song.
Number 1 on what?
Like charts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Popularity.
Dang. Okay, so this is like the poppiest of pop.
Mhm.
Well, I guess it's like the most popular of pop.
Because it's got Beyonce on it. Anything with Beyonce is gonna get people who wear her face on a shirt to listen.
But it's like legitimately good. Like if you like Megan Thee Stallion and you like Beyonce, you'll love this song.
I know.
If you know nothing about either of them, then maybe you won't like it.
I don't know.
But if you know it from TikTok, then it might just be fun to listen to.
That's probably true. I do definitely.
You can learn the dance.
I cannot.
If you want to get into Megan Thee Stallion, look up Hot Girl Summer. It's a very easy song to get into.
Hot Girl Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Girl Summer. This is like a long list of songs and stuff that I'm supposed to watch by next week.
See, this is what I mean though. Just imagine Yazeed in a room and then the hook of Hot Girl Summer in the same thing. It just doesn't work. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, I'll be in my office listening to it with my little headphones and just with my dog sleeping under me and being like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I have just a music question for you guys. Do you like reading what critics have to say about songs after you've listened to them a couple of times? And does it make you like songs more?
Yeah, you do.
I don't.
We watch Fantano.
I watch Fantano like to hear his like breakdown and analysis of songs and albums. I just think he's really intelligent when it comes to describing songs. However, I don't go to him for like validation or
Yeah.
even like, ooh, should I listen to this album? I gotta watch Fantano.
Yeah, I meant like in the opposite way. Like you have listened to it a couple of times, then you go and just look at what like critics have to say about a song or an album or something.
No, like I don't go on to like what's it like, Thrasher or Threader?
Pitchfork?
Yeah, like Pitchfork or whatever. I don't really care. I watch Fantano because I think he's entertaining, but
I see.
I don't really care.
Yeah, we watch pretty much every. You know who Anthony Fantano is?
Okay.
He's a music reviewer on YouTube.
He's like the music reviewer. on YouTube.
I'm fairly certain I've read this that he is the single most popular individual music reviewer. Like in terms of a name, not a publication or an organization, a named individual. He's the most prominent on the internet.
That's probably true. Yeah.
And he reviews a bunch of music, and he's just really articulate and really great. And we've been watching him for years. So we watch his stuff because he's like Senovia said, he's just really great at describing music. He's a lot of the times like, will say the words that you don't know how to say. I disagree with him a lot too, but it's just fun to hear him talk. You know, but like for me, I'll listen or I'll read Pitchfork reviews because I just like seeing people. Like I said, you know, people who know how to say the words that you don't know how to say. Even if you don't agree with them, just hearing someone describe the thing that you heard is fun for me. She's trying to fight me.
She'll like it.
She's pushing. Anyway, so yeah, I do, but not for validation of my own opinion or whatever. I just like to hear what other people think, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do
I
you look
understand.
up reviews?
I didn't normally. I started looking up stuff for Maiden Heights because I was like, I have to be like a weird historian about them. Because like literally, like you can't find any of like I know like eventually like that stuff's gonna fall off YouTube and people will never find it again. So I
Yeah.
feel like this like goes back to what you were talking about last week, Joseph, about like feeling a need to like retain stuff for future generations almost. Like I feel like I have to like a repository of Maiden Heights information.
Yeah, you gotta pass on the legacy.
Yeah, but to who and how are they gonna carry on the
Anybody.
legacy?
To Sapphire.
But yeah, it's like I just went through and I was reading all the like old critical reviews of their albums and their songs and stuff like that. So and that's like the first time I'd ever even read a critique of any music before. So it's kind of interesting. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. I very rarely agree with reviews.
One of the things that the reviewers were talking about that I actually had never noticed before was in Death, like specifically, where they're talking about like this interplay between the music and the singer, and like the way that they change pace and also like how they sing the words, and that like they play into each other, but they're actually like opposed to each other. So like if you just listen to the beat, and then if you listen to the words, the beat that you would come up with for the words would be different than the beat, and then like the words you'd probably come up with for the beat is different than the words that they came up with. It's like that interplay, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, it's stuff like that I'd never really noticed, or really cared to notice before.
You should check out like just look up the Needle Drop or the word Fantano on YouTube, and you'll find a bunch of stuff. He does reviews for pretty much every major piece of music that comes out, so you can get the kind of the like analysis like that from someone's perspective, but he gives it to you in a very normal way.
That's pretty cool. I don't know. Like I said, I'd never really like done it before. I'd like really like go dig through and find like articles.
Yeah.
That was interesting. It's kind of cool actually. Like I felt like I was grave robbing almost. Like this information is like on its way out, and I have to like go and dig it out and try to find it again.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you think about like the remnants of a digital presence or whatever when it's gone.
Yeah.
Like that thing might not exist on the internet in 10 years, but hopefully this recording of us talking about it will.
Yeah.
So it's like a piece of something that did exist at the time that you can't find online anymore, and it's like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's like you
big
gotta keep it
question.
alive.
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, it's like I would like to, like I said last time, like I want to get to the state of zen where I can just let go, but I can't yet.
He's trying to hit a point where he's like post stuff.
Yeah,
That thing is gone. I don't care. I'm post stuff.
yeah.
Oh.
And me, I'm like a hoarder.
Yep, you are.
I
Absolutely.
cannot grasp the concept of being post stuff. I admire it. I cannot do it.
Yeah, when we were talking last week, I was telling Joseph like when Spotify and everyone like pulled all the music for Maiden Heights, I was really afraid of losing it. But I was telling Joseph like I want to get to the point where it's like I accept that it's like gone,
Yeah.
and like it was a great experience to have. And like one of the few people who knew about it. But anyway, are you guys ready to move on to rapid fire questions or do you have anything else for this?
I'm ready.
All right. I remember how long the rapid rapid fire question song is?
Doom, 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 doom. But I haven't put it in like weeks. I didn't put it in last week.
Oh yeah.
Before, but we used to have it because it used to be a consistent section.
Yes.
And then it stopped, and so I stopped.
It's not easy coming up with dumb questions, okay?
What are dumb? They just give you questions. We could just have a question of the week, but the rapid fire is why I picked that song because it just comes in so hot.
It does. It really does. So the first question I have is, if you had to attend 2 of the 3 following events, which 2 would you attend? An elementary school reunion, a middle school reunion, and a high school reunion?
Elementary school and high school.
Because middle school is the worst part of your life?
Middle school is the worst part of my life.
I actually I would pick middle school and high school.
Why?
Because you and JC would be there.
But we're here. I'm here
Yeah,
right
you'd be
now.
there.
No. But see, okay, but here's the thing. I know no one from elementary school. I don't talk to anyone. So I'd be in a room full of strangers that I met like years and years ago that I haven't spoken to. If I went to the middle school reunion, JC and Joseph would be there. That's 2 people that I know. I don't need
But
to know
they would
anyone
be there
else.
anyway for your high school reunion.
But I have to go to 2 of the 3. So I at least will know 2 people that I'm very close friends with at the middle school reunion. I don't have to interact with
Oh,
anyone
I
else.
see.
And then the high school reunion, I'd go to as well. So I'd go to both of those.
And
I wouldn't go to the elementary school one. Because I haven't been in elementary school in like 20 years or whatever.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would say elementary and high school because of what Senovia said, but also because the people that I knew in middle school that I would want to see, I still see. You and JC and Alex.
Yeah.
And the people I knew in elementary school, I really lost touch with them, but I had good friends in elementary school, so I would like to see where they are today because they went out a very different way than me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't talked to them since I was 10. It's a
That
very
makes
different
sense.
thing.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I don't remember elementary school very well.
You
So
don't remember, I'm surprised you remember high school or anything.
I don't remember high school very well either. I remember like some of the people.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
Yeah. High school, I don't. Would you? Are we going to a high school reunion? I think we talked about this.
I would like us to go to a high school reunion.
We have to
I
go.
feel like we would have. So the problem is our high school is so small.
Yeah.
So that if someone is gone, people are going to be like, that person's gone.
Especially us, because we got
So
the
it's like,
we were the prom things.
oh, I don't think anyone cares about that.
But that's the thing at like the reunion where it's like, remember our high school senior year? Let's look at the prom that year. Who was king and queen? Where are they?
They're getting married
We're gone.
and or have been married.
They
That'd be
actually
pretty
hate us, so.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
No.
I think it'd be kind of cool. Here's my argument. It's fun to see friends that like you're still friends with and just seeing like how it's going.
Right.
Because like if everyone goes to high school reunion, then people I'm friends with that don't live in the state anymore are gonna come back, and then I get to see them again, which would be kind of nice.
Like, we have a friend group from high school that we are still friends with. And so going to our high school reunion would just be seeing
Chilling
the
with
people
their
that,
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that is-
other people who are there also.
Yeah, but it's also we don't have to organize it ourselves
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's like effort to like organize like 15 people, or we could just go to the high school.
And it's
one.
most likely like free food,
Yeah.
probably like some booze.
But I'm so uninterested in the like, hey, how you been with people that I don't care about.
See,
Well,
that's the
but-
thing. Don't have that conversation then.
But then you're the guy who's like, bye
Yeah,
when
but
someone's
no,
just
Man,
talking
it's
to
like,
you.
hey man, how's it going?
But then you're having the conversation. I don't
No,
want to
because you don't ask like what they do for. I think if people didn't ask what you do for work, it would be a much more interesting thing. If you asked everyone in high school what are their hobbies, that'd be a completely different conversation.
Yeah, I think people who would approach you and be like, "Hey, like, how's it going?" Like, you would want to talk to them because they legitimately would want to talk to you. Because no one is going up to every single person in their high school reunion saying, "Hey, what do you do now? Hey, what do you do now? Hey, what do you do now?"
There are people like that do exist.
Yeah, but you know who those people would be.
No, I don't.
You don't know who that would be.
I don't know who that would be either.
I know who that would be. But I feel like it would be very obvious. Like, I don't want to talk to you or whatever.
For people who don't know, Joseph Senovia may have been prom king and queen, but Senovia was the prom queen, and Joseph was the plus one.
I was there. Yeah, I went. They let me in.
They let me in.
And homecoming queen.
Yeah.
That was you too.
Yeah, you guys like full swept the podium. Your bids were
We
great.
swept.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool.
I'm sure like if
We'll
it
go.
actually does happen, we're gonna go.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like
It's just
it's because you're gonna go.
I don't want to see. The thing is, like, I want to go just to like see people like I haven't seen in a long time that I'm like kind of friends with. So like McElroy, like if I got to see him, I'd be
Yeah.
super stoked because I haven't seen him in years. But I'm like, I like him. And then like Kevin G, I'd be cool with seeing again.
just name everybody you went to high school with.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, we're
Not
gonna
every, no,
just-
I don't remember everyone we went to high school with.
Well, that's the thing. I don't cut this anymore, so everything he said is gonna be in
Oh,
there.
right.
Yeah, we've referenced Kevin before anyway. Anyway, all these people
I hope
famous. You got one viewer on YouTube. It's easy.
Anyway, yeah, it is easy.
Anyway, yeah.
I have one more question.
Oh,
One
yeah,
more
that's right.
question. What is an appropriate time to wear your hat backwards?
Never.
You mean like for a duration, like how long you should wear your hat?
No, like
backwards,
like an event occurs and you wear your hat backwards. What event causes you to allow you to wear your hat backwards?
None. The purpose of a hat, these hats, is to keep sun out of your face. So why would you be wearing a hat that does not keep the sun out of your face?
If you're doing like 90s cosplay,
Oh yeah, if you're wearing a costume, maybe.
Okay.
well, not costume, just trying to catch the vibe of a certain era, like the 90s. You know, you get some shorts. And
You know what? The '90s aesthetic is gonna come back. And then
It's
when
been
it
back.
happens-
Yeah, it's back.
It's been back.
The '90s aesthetic is
Oh
back?
yeah.
Never went away.
It definitely went away, man.
Dude, go to Twitter. Look at anybody. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know. What was the question?
What is an appropriate
Oh.
time to wear your hat back? Or like, what would be an event that allows you to wear your hat backwards?
Okay, I can think of one.
Okay.
It is not that sunny outside.
Mhm.
You're outside.
Okay.
You're sweating.
Mhm.
You know how when you have a hat on for too long, your head just, you need to touch it,
Yeah.
and you're just like, and then because of the need for a different head hat situation,
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, but then look at you.
You honestly.
I'm embarrassing looking, but not in a general way. Like people can do this.
You know what? I think you could actually pull off the hat backwards look. Unironically, 100%.
I think baseball is a good time to wear your hat backwards. If you're playing baseball, sure, you could do that. Maybe to get like a better visual or like to like look in the air or whatever. But no, nothing else, in my opinion.
Well, I used to play baseball, so I could do it forever.
No, that's not how it works.
I get a pass.
I was in my head. I was just imagining Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, and now he'd get ready to throw the ball, like win the match, and he'd turn. His head
Exactly.
around.
See, he needs to like see things.
You,
Almost
I
like
didn't
he's,
actually
he's
realize how
throwing
much
a
peripheral
ball.
vision this takes away until I just did that right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Senovia. But your point from earlier actually just made me realize it because when I turned the hat around, I was like, oh, I'm missing a lot of view with this thing on.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, I would be like, then why are you wearing a hat?
To keep the sun out.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to see things, and the sun is not the issue, then why are you wearing a hat?
Is it cool?
Okay.
I don't know. Like the
alright,
picture of
that's-
that guy, and he's got the hat backwards, and then the sunglasses up here, and he's like this squinting in the sun.
Yes.
Yeah, don't be that guy. But I think you can maybe flip your hat like every now and then. You really need to, if you feel it right. Anyway,
What if you're walking away from the sun and it's just like burning your neck?
then yeah, you flip it, and then it's covering your neck. You're
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, yeah.
Golden.
Not that I do that, but you know, we're just asking for posterity purposes. What was your rapid fire question, Joseph?
I had one, and it really wasn't rapid fire. I was actually going to use this for a what's up discussion. But one of the things I've been doing this past week, this is not rapid. One thing I was doing this past week is I was going through my hard drive, and like I've mentioned several times before, but I'm a hoarder in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I literally, no joke, have 14 terabytes of storage on my desktop PC, and the vast majority of that is Steam games, music, photos, and movies, stuff like that. So I was going through making hard drive space for games because I realized I had almost 4 terabytes of games installed, and that was like ridiculous.
That's a lot.
There's a lot. It's hundreds. And so I went through and I started uninstalling games. And I had some kind of challenges because I was questioning whether or not I was done with certain games. Like Wolfenstein 2, for example. I finished the single player, and that's it. I'll probably not play that game again unless it's for like a standalone quick thing. So should I keep it installed? Am I done with it? You know? It's kind of this question. So when do you think you're done with a game? Or are you ever?
I'm gonna be honest. You're asking one of the like most anal people about being like maintaining hard drive space. So basically, the moment I haven't played a game for a week, I'll just uninstall the game.
So then, by that logic, have you uninstalled Doom?
Yeah.
You'll never beat it?
No.
So I was right then when I told you never beat it.
You know, you were right about that. Okay, you were right, but I'm not happy that you were right.
I'm never wrong. That's the crazy thing. Is that I'm never wrong.
Listen, I'm not happy that you were right about me not beating Doom, but I didn't beat Doom. And you know what? And it's not because it was too hard. I didn't even play it after the episode where you challenged me. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna beat Doom. Never even opened the game up again.
You just wanted it for content for your podcast.
No, I legitimately like Doom. It's just
But okay, so then let me ask you, what makes you stop playing a game? If it's about the time that you've put in and you haven't put in time recently, why did you stop playing? What point did you say this game is not something I'll keep playing?
It wasn't like a decision to stop playing Doom, really. It was more like I have less time to play games now, and I want to spend that time playing with friends over playing single player games. So for me right now, I would rather play Valorant or League of Legends or Counter-Strike or whatever else with another person or with other people than to play a solo game.
Is that a recent thing, or maybe like 6 months ago were you still doing that?
No, because like when Doom came out, I was like totally into Doom. That's like the only game I was playing was Doom.
Yeah.
And then I played the Ant Simulator game. Alright, it's not kind of Ant Simulator, it's called Empires of the Undergrowth. And then like after that was when I was very much like, I don't know. I think it's been more of like the isolation.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you've been socially isolated lately.
Yeah, it's just been like wearing on me increasingly. It's like I'm trying to like find joy where I can.
Yeah.
Not joy so much as just like interaction with other people more.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I think that's more of why I stopped playing Doom.
I get it.
Not because it was too hard or I couldn't beat it.
I mean, I'm not messing around. I truly don't think you could beat that game. Like, I'm not being a jerk.
Incredible. You don't have any faith in my ability?
I know what kind of games you play. I know what kind of games you're good at, and I know you.
Yeah.
I think if you were to try to play Doom Eternal to the end on normal difficulty, you, Yazeed the man, would stop before that because it's too much. I'm not being a wiener. I'm just saying that I don't think you could do it.
You know what's gonna blow your mind? One of my favorite games is Doom 2016. Never beat that either.
That's okay. Do you think you have to beat a game to have an opinion?
No.
I don't think you do.
No. I have opinion on Fallout New Vegas.
It's not good.
I played the first hour of it and I didn't like it, and then JC told me I can't do that unless I beat the whole game. So I beat the whole game. I sped run the whole game and had no fun doing
Speed ran?
I did a speed run.
I did, yeah.
Of the whole game.
There we go. Yes, Senovia is correct. I did a speed run basically of Fallout. I like min-maxed my character with melee only, like rushed down the best melee weapon and then just ripped everyone apart. It was boring.
Do you think you have to beat a game to have an opinion on it, Senovia?
No.
Do you think if someone claims that there are some sort of authority, that they should beat a game? Like if I'm a game reviewer, that I should beat a game?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, me as a human, I can listen to a 3-minute song for only 30 seconds and decide I don't like it.
Yeah.
But if I listen to a person who professionally reviews music, I wouldn't want them to be like, yeah, I listened to it for 15 seconds and it sucked.
I get that.
Yeah.
But in the same thing, what if the argument of like, I played it enough to the point where I decided I no longer wanted to.
Okay.
That's my opinion. I didn't beat it.
Yeah, and I guess I would expect a person who reviews things to complete it or at least attempt to complete it. I understand it's like this is so frustrating. This is so poorly made. I don't even want to play it anymore. I get that, but
That's a valid review for someone.
yeah, but I think people have the ability to be like, this guy didn't even play it all the way through. Like maybe it gets better or something.
But what if I make a game that's like, you ever watch that episode of How I Met Your Mother where Barney does the like 6-hour play to get back at Lily for making him sit
Yes.
through her play? What if someone makes that as a game? It's incredibly long, and you realistically won't ever sit through it and finish it because it's made to be so bad. Like, you know what I mean? Not, just as a hypothetical.
Yeah.
The dude in the bucket game.
What? Oh, the getting over it? Yeah. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, something like that. You could have an opinion and still get
Yeah.
so far into it, like, but and like be a reviewer.
Yeah,
and
no,
then finish.
absolutely. But someone else can say, well, you didn't even finish it, so I'm
Yeah.
going to give it, or like, I don't think it's
It
valid.
removes some validity, even though it's valid itself.
Yeah,
I get that.
exactly.
I actually think that you shouldn't judge if somebody's beaten the game or not, right? Because let's say that they're playing Halo 1.
Mm-hmm.
Halo 1 has like a 30-minute speed run.
Yeah.
If somebody would just pick up that game like, I'll review Halo 1, and they played the speed run, they didn't experience the game in the same way a regular person would. So their review is pretty much meaningless.
Well, that's the
But they beat
argument
the
of,
game.
is a speed run actually playing a game?
Right, but they beat the game. So
Without-
I really don't think you should look at if they beat the game or not. I think it's, did they experience the game as a normal person would?
But what's a normal person?
Yeah,
Like,
an average player.
if I have a speed run, if I beat a game in 30 minutes, if I didn't exploit any bugs and I really beat the game in 30 minutes, they made a game that I can beat in 30 minutes and I beat it. I got the game experience. But it also depends on the game.
Yeah.
It depends heavily on the game because some games you can't beat. Like sports games, for example, there's no winning.
Yeah.
You just play.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just an interesting question, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be like if somebody listened to a movie or a song on like fast forward. Are we on like 2 hours?
Yeah, we're almost at 2 hours.
Oh my
I did
God.
not realize.
Yeah, I think it'd be like if somebody was listening to like reviewing songs, but they listen to everything on like 4x speed. And, like their review is totally different than a regular person's review.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it should just be about completion. I think it should be about like the experience of the game. Another thing too is I think you have to find a reviewer that you kind of jive with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really have any reviewers that I really like jive with. I watch Donkey's content because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
But I don't like. I'm not gonna go play Knack 2 because he said it's the best game.
We said that ironically though. It's not like really the anyway.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm
It's
not
all
gonna
jokes.
I'm not gonna like play Knack 2 for the meme because he
Right.
joked about it. Like and I don't even own a Nintendo console. So like I just
It's
know I can play.
PlayStation.
Well, I was gonna say like he rates all of the Nintendo games like hilariously high.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
super biased towards like Nintendo style games, whereas I'm like very much kind of whatever about it.
Too manly for that.
No, I don't own the console, and if I owned it, I wouldn't be able to play for very long. So
Yeah.
there's not really a reason for me to.
Yeah, it's like what we said earlier with Fantano. Like we know that we like hearing him talk, and we know that we don't always agree with him, but we know from hearing his opinion on something what it's like.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all for me on everything that I had on my notes.
Do you have a rapid fire question prepared, Senovia?
I didn't know we were doing
I didn't tell you. I'm
so
sorry. I don't know.
That's like more of a surprise thing.
Originally, it was rapid fire question, and they were rapid fire because it's like they came up fast, and I answered them fast, and there was like urgency. And then now there's no consistency in this show. So.
No. No. The 10 2 of 3 question I thought was pretty quick.
The what?
A 10 2 of the 3 events.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah.
That was quick.
There, yeah. I hit my quota.
Yeah, good job.
It's really just as I think of these questions, and sometimes I think of them like the day of, while we're sitting and planning.
Yeah, I thought of mine on the way here.
All right, everyone. That's pretty much all for us. We will see you next week. Maybe next week we'll discuss what makes a game good.
Oh yeah, that's been on our list. We've been wanting to talk about what makes a game good for
Well,
a
that's
while.
fun.
It's a very open question. You can join us if you like.
We'll see.
You might have an interesting. Hey, you should.
Where was I? Anyway,
Closing
yeah.
it up.
Yeah. I'm closing this one up. Yeah. So catch us next week. Watch us this week. We will see you when we see you. See you later.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.